Hey there guys, welcome back to the Doug and Racecraft YouTube channel. On this episode, I gave you a brief update of my Coyote swapped King Cobra. Okay, so it may not look like it, but I have gotten a metric fuck ton of things done since last time you guys would have seen this. Obviously right now I have the fenders and the header and everything off of it. Mainly I was working on some stuff obviously in here. I did end up finishing the engine harness. So from the factory, the harness runs off the front of the motor down around here, and the control pack's supposed to be somewhere in here. But I didn't want it in here because I don't like want to have to make a whole bunch of covers to cover it up or to make it like try and hide the harness or things like that. So I thought if it wasn't for this side's harness for the injectors, the VCTs, solenoids, and you know all the stuff over here, the harness could run off the back. So the way that ended up working out was I snipped all the leads for the coils, the injectors, and all that stuff, and then ran it back into the harness. So then the harness runs all the way back into here. And it mounts in the dash right there. Obviously, this is not the way things are going to look in the end. This is just like mocked up and stuff like that. So I also mounted the fuse box right here. I do have the heater box in there, so I knew like what constraints I had to work with. So that worked out really well. I'm going to shorten this harness where necessary because the harness that you see in here is just the harness for the control pack. That's not the body harness. I do already have the body harness thinned out, so basically all it's going to do is run the lights, you know, windshield wipers and things like that, because this is a street car. So that's pretty exciting there. The main thing we got left to do here is the wiring and then making the exhaust. The wiring won't be that hard. I just keep putting it off because I've done a lot of wiring with this already, messing around with that harness and everything. But the control pack's plug and play. So I might have to extend a couple leads. Nothing too serious there, just because of where I have everything else. That harness is meant to be up here somewhere. So a lot of those connections aren't as long as they need to be for like the alternator. So that's not that big a deal. Obviously nothing I haven't done before. I could, in theory, just rig it up with the with the battery with just a couple wires to get it to fire up, but I don't want to do that. To me, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to temporary it up, so to speak, just to get it to fire up, because you know, I still want to be able to drive this and everything. So it just makes the most sense to get everything done the right way the first time, and then that way I can troubleshoot if there's any problems, because there always is. It just depends upon, you know, what those problems are. Some of the stuff we got done since the last video, obviously my very nice charge pipe here. All this is 4-inch tube. The mass airflow sensor is on the bottom side of the pipe there, hidden, so it looks really nice. With the drive line, I got the transmission cooler mounted right there. There is airspace in between there, and the frame rail is not obstructing it enough for it to make a difference. Dash 8 Summit Racing lines that I made. I'm going to the 6R80. Use the power by the hour adapter kit to go from the factory two plugs on the side of the transmission to this Dash 8 line. I was able to use a factory style shifter for an S550, which I was pretty excited about. Originally I had the low car style handle, or the low car style shifter assembly rather, and honestly I just wasn't really that impressed with it. There's like a bracket that hangs out the back of it. The cable has to go backwards and then forwards again, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then the one that I got was just terrible. I'm not sure what the deal was with it, but it was supposed to be set up for a 6R80 transmission, obviously. So with the 6R80, it has the park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then sport mode. This one being a truck one's different, but the shifter didn't go into sport mode. It just stopped at drive, which according to the instructions isn't something that you should have to adjust, and they recommend you making adjustments at home because of that. So then it also has the ratcheting mechanism that you can select gears and you can wire that into the control pack, which I am still going to do. I'm just going to use buttons instead, but that made that functionality not work. And of course now it's on back order everywhere, so I couldn't get a new one, and it was kind of expensive. The one that I had was almost $400. And I got this factory shifter for, I think it was like $100, and it came with all the brackets, the cable, and everything. So it was a no bueno. I also had a drive shaft made by a local drive shaft shop here in town. It's kind of hard to see, so I apologize for that. But with this being a 6R80, it has a flange on the back side of it. And the 9-inch has a yoke at the end with a 1350 U-joint. So I needed something. I needed a drive shaft that had the slip joint like as a part of it. So my original idea was if I could find a factory drive shaft for like an S197 or an S550, they had this joint in it factory. Well, not the factory drive shafts, the aftermarket ones. I got a hold of Shaft Masters to have them make me one that had this joint in it, that had the flange, and then the 1350 at the other end. But for whatever reason, it was just a little bit more expensive than I was willing to pay, so I bought this drive shaft secondhand from an S197. This end already had a 1350 U-joint on it, but the other end has a companion flange factory for the 8.8s. So essentially the way that it ended up working out, long story short, the only thing they reused from this drive shaft was this piece here. They had to retube it because this one's longer than an S197 because of where I had the drivetrain and everything mounted. So it ended up being like 3 inches longer. So they retubed it, gave me a nice heavy duty tube. If you're from this area, from this part of the country, it was Driveline in Dubuque. Riedel's an awesome guy. Didn't help me out on the price or anything, so like this isn't a paid endorsement, but if you have drive shafts that you need done, highly recommend him. Another thing I got to finish up was the fuel system. The fuel system's ready to run. I ended up using a -8 feed, -6 return into a air motor regulator. I ended up using a Holley, I'll put the part number on the screen, but it was a Holley fuel pump. Should be able to handle right around 800 or 900 wheel horsepower on 85 with a boosted application. So I wanted to overbuild this so that if for when I wanted to grow in the future, I wasn't limited by anything that I'd already done. I don't remember if I showed you guys the brakes or not, but these are it. These are geometric calipers front and back, 11-inch rotors, nothing too special there. Tubular control arms, upper lower. I'm not sure, yeah, you can't really see it, but I ended up using a Boss 302 style accessory drive. As I said originally, I wasn't going to run an AC compressor, so the Boss 302 style accessory drive made the most sense. I ended up also using a Boss 302 alternator, just because I wanted to be able to handle the high RPMs that this motor can end up spinning. As you can see, got a really nice Boss 302 belt. So I want to keep this video short. Obviously, I've gotten a ton done in the last, like month or two. I would have filmed more, but I only get 2 or 3 hours a night to work on stuff, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to spend an extra hour filming the stuff. So most of it was stuff that wouldn't really have made good videos anyways, and not a lot of people would watch. So it's just the way that it ends up working out. So these last couple things that I'm gonna end up finishing up, I will make a video about the wiring for the control pack, as well as making the exhaust. So I might tie those into one video, might do 2 separate ones. Not really sure about that yet. As an example of some of the things that I've gotten done, here's my whiteboard that I write everything on. It's about 2x3. I've had this whiteboard full of things to do and then cross that stuff off as I went. I've done that 3 times now. So what you just saw there is the last little bit of stuff. Even if it's small stuff, I like writing it down just so I don't forget and then build myself a new corner and other things. So plus it's kind of nice to be able to check stuff off when you get something done. It gives you that feeling of accomplishment. So obviously, like, these videos haven't been doing as well as I had hoped, but I guess it just kind of comes with the territory. I would say, let's say you have 100 people that are interested in the car stuff and watch these kind of videos. 10% of them are interested in how you got there, everything that you did, but the vast majority cares about the finished product. So for everybody that has watched these videos, I really do appreciate it. You guys really keep me going on, getting content out there and keeping going with this. But so that doesn't go unnoticed. Comment if you have any questions down below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe if this is something you'd like to see more of. But that's gonna do it for this video. I hope to catch you in the next one. Y'all take care now.
Is this the new intro to your new video?
Could be.
Shit. Oh, what up, Duck and Race Crafters?